Hey everybody, final thoughts time for 12 Realms and its expansion, Ancestor's Legacy. Okay, there's a bunch to talk about here, but I guess I'll start with just the base game and then I'll talk about the expansion as part two. So, 12 Realms. I've actually wanted to play this game for quite a while, actually several years, because originally this game was designed and published by Ignacio Coro? I'm not quite sure how to say your name, Ignacio. Sorry, Ignacio Coro, I'm going to take a guess at. And he released it as a print and play game, which means it was available free to anybody who wanted to take the time to print everything out, chop it up, laminate it, do whatever needs to be done to actually turn it into a playable game. And so I think a lot of people were interested, and a lot of people really loved it, particularly because it had a reputation as one of the most gorgeous looking print and play games on the market. It was just absolutely fantastic looking, and a lot of people wanted to play it, but they couldn't because they just didn't have the wherewithal to print it up themselves. So along comes Mage Company, a relatively new publisher, who made a deal with Ignacio and to produce it, to professionally publish it and distribute it. And they ran a Kickstarter campaign late last year, 2013. And that campaign was a big, big success. I think in large part because of all the wonderful, gorgeous minis. This isn't even all the minis that come in the base game. There are actually more than this. And what was amazing is you could get these really super high quality, not insanely high quality, but these paint jobs, they could come unpainted by default, but they could have been painted, and the painting wasn't that much more. Considering the quality of them, it was definitely worth it. So you could get, really, really wonderful minis and a colorful, gorgeous, charming fantasy co-op game that had proved to be very popular as a print and play. And so, like I said, it was a huge hit. Big, big success. Such a big success that Mage Company doesn't have any copies on hand anymore, so they had to send me a bunch of random pieces that I had to cobble together to be able to do this run through because it was just such a popular game. And so that's kind of the history. And so I've wanted to play it for a while, but just haven't had the opportunity. And so I finally played it. And I can definitely say, just talking about the base game now, it is a sweet, charming, easy to play, wonderful gateway fairy tale game. This is a game definitely for families to play together and have a lot of fun and roll the dice and be worried as the bad guys keep coming and work together and in time and teach little kids some basic strategy and just have a fun adventure. Or it's a great way to introduce new players to modern board gaming. I kind of almost liken this as a kind of a gateway co-op game. It's kind of in the same realm as Forbidden Island by Matt Leacock or Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Though both of those are family-friendly gateway co-op games, and I would say this sits right next to them at that same kind of level of gameplay depth and complexity that makes it very, very easy for anybody to jump right in and play. Gives you some interesting decisions, not really tough brain burners. This is not going to replace Arkham Horror in terms of complexity, nor is it going to replace Pandemic in terms of depth, because it's really on the light side. But for folks who are looking for a fun, light, co-op game, I think it really plays really, really nice. Jen and I found, that just playing it standard, the game was a bit on the easy side, kind of way on the easy side, but we solved that easily enough by when we played a 2-player game, we just played with 3 realms. And then suddenly with 3 realms, things got challenging. Not challenging in terms of strategy or tactics, but just challenging in terms of, wow, are we going to be able to overcome this? We're going to need a lick of luck and some smart moves to be able to win. And so we enjoyed it, but I gotta say, for me and Jen, it's a little bit too far on the light side. If we had kids, or if we were constantly introducing new people to board games, this would definitely be a great, great game for us. But Jen and me, we tend to play much, much heavier games, so it's a little light for us. But still, I think based on what it set out to do, be a fun gateway game, it succeeds at that. And then on top of it, succeeds hugely because of all the gorgeous pieces, the gorgeous art, and the really smooth gameplay. Although there was one big complaint, and I think it was a totally fair complaint. The Kickstarter version last year had a notoriously poor rule book that left a lot of stuff up in the open and came with a whole bunch of cards that just, as often as not, made no sense because they kind of follow the, the Race for the Galaxy mode, where they basically just have a bunch of icons and they give you, on the last page of the manual, a lexicon of what all those icons do, and you just had to figure out for yourself. And some of these cards were very vague. And so you have to go online, you have to read facts and all that to learn. Now, Mage has definitely heard people's complaints. One of the things that's coming with the new expansion is a completely rewritten rulebook and redone cards, which will be available for people who backed in the first campaign as well. You know, there's completely redone cards that address those problems, which is great, because really that's my only real complaint about the production of this game, is that a lot of the cards and the rules can be a little bit too vague. So we'll see if they fix that. Hopefully they have. That's really good news. But otherwise, great base game. So now let's talk about the expansion. I don't even know where to start. Well, you just saw me do one of, now what my understanding is, the base expansion will have 3 plots, and you just saw one, the, you know, capture the witch, broom hunt one. But there are 2 others. One of them is basically doesn't require any new items. It basically just changes the basic rules so that when you're, you know, it's not just the Pirate King who would attack Bones Island. It's the Pirate King and the other Pirate Dark Lord. Both of them attack. And so you have to deal with 2 Dark Lords instead of 1. So I think it's called Double Challenge. And you know, that's actually something you could retrofit just back into the base game. So that's nice. The Witch one I think is very cool. You know, really changes things up a lot. As you can imagine, with more players and there's more witches, but there's only 1 Sugar Plum Fairy, she's having to run all over the place to coordinate with all types of players as they're all trying to hunt their witches down. Because the interesting thing is the Sugar Plum Fairy is not allowed to get the to get a Flying Pig or Pegasus. Only other players can do it. So the more players you get, the more complex and interesting that. Although you saw in the run-through I just did, it was actually a really nail-biting experience. Came right down to the wire. The third one that comes by default in the expansion, it has to do with ninjas. Where are those ninjas? I think they're in here somewhere. Where do I have? Yeah, ninjas. It's a secret roles thing where everybody gets a ninja card, and one player gets. I had to chop all these up myself. Everybody gets a ninja card, but one player gets the different ninja card, and they are a traitor. And so you have a hidden traitor game where the rules are pretty much the same, but there are additional rules to try and flesh out the traitor, and the traitor can win. I'm not saying traitor. The ninja player can win. You know, if he makes certain things happen and all that. So that's very cool. Although you got to play that with more than 2, obviously. Betrayer game doesn't work very well with 2 players. But so that's what comes with the base: the witches, the ninja thing, and the double challenge. Also, let's see, the expansion comes with 4 completely new realms. These are totally different. I mean, because the whole thing is it's 12 realms. The base game came with 4. The next 4 are going to come out in this first expansion, so I guess you can assume there's going to be another expansion later for the final 4. And with these new realms comes new heroes, like the Prince of Egypt and some other ones, and they all have new abilities, new skills, and a whole coterie of new bad guys. And the bad guys have new abilities and skills too, like Poison, I think, is going to be one, and the ability for bad guys to steal cards from players. So, not only are you getting new realms and new heroes, and new villains with new types of abilities and whatnot, but then you're also getting these 3 modules that can change the base game. But then there's going to be a lot of stretch goals, because they've actually designed a whole bunch of these plots, these story plots that can change the base game. I showed you one. I showed you the witch. I told you about the other 2. But as stretch goals, they're offering a bunch more, and I've read some preliminary rules, and a lot of them sound awesome. Like, I think my favorite one, I wish I could have played it, is the Ghost Ship. This becomes another board you've got where the Ghost Ship moves around Bones Island, like how you just saw the witches do, or how the crows do in the base game. It's constantly moving around, and it's a cursed ship, you know, that causes trouble. And the problem is, you know, you have to go on here and you have to defeat the ghost pirates on this to basically neutralize the threat. And as long as the ship is moving around, it completely closes off regions. Wherever it is, nobody can go to that region in Bones Island or any region, because it curses all regions. And so what happens is, one brave player has to face the curse and become cursed themselves to board the ship. And then if they defeat all the pirate ghosts, they become the cursed pirate captain, and they can control the ship, and they can fly it wherever they want, but they can never get off the ship. They're trapped on the ship because they're cursed to live the rest of their lives on the ship. But they can use the ship to help their teammates win the game. That is mind-blowing. That is awesome. And it's just one of many. I mean, there's another one that's kind of a pick up and deliver, where these crazy squirrels spawn and spread like a virus all over all the maps. And while you're doing everything else, you're also trying to have to capture all these squirrels and return them to their squirrel dens. So that's another one. Here's some of the ghost pirates you have to beat. Of course, I don't know if they're going to get minis or not. You'll have to check out the page. Another one is called the something of the Pantheons, I think, where players can get these really cool, awesome superpower cards like Odin's Wolves or the Chariot of Piram or Zeus's Thunder and stuff like that. These really cool superpower cards. So there's a bunch of new other plots that can be added. But they're stretch goals because the cost of producing them, like making another board for the pirate ship and making the pirate tokens and all that, isn't covered in the base game. So if you hit those stretch goals, this expansion could be huge. Because some of these are really big game changers. And so we'll see how far it goes. But I think on the whole, taken as a whole, one of the core things that this expansion is setting out to do, besides just providing more stuff, is more unique, interesting ways to play the game. Like you saw, the Witch really made teamwork a much more integral part than it normally is. This thing would be a really, really cool item. Turning the game into a pick up and deliver game all of a sudden with the squirrels, etc., etc. So, time will tell how many of those stretch goals will unlock so that Mage has the money it needs to be able to produce the additional resources. But long story short, I would definitely say this expansion, if you have the base game, the expansion is a very, very worthy addition to the base game. 4 new regions, a ton of new ways to play the game, new miniatures that can be painted professionally again. All that stuff is available. You can check out the link to the Kickstarter campaign right there, I guess. Or you'll follow it in the show notes. But on the whole, I would have to say that this, this is kind of a must-have expansion. I think you would never play 12 Realms without it. And as for 12 Realms itself, again, I'll just repeat myself. It's a wonderful, wonderful family-friendly gateway game. Absolutely just charms the socks right off of you. All these cute little creatures. Because really, I think, after Jen and I played it, we said, well, okay, probably not quite meaty enough for us. But what Jen commented she liked the most, and we're just talking about the base game now, was the shopping. Because I compared it earlier to Flashpoint Fire Rescue, particularly Flashpoint Fire Rescue, which has a similar thing of moving around the board trying to stop fire. This one, you're moving around the board trying to stop bad guys, invaders, while dealing with the big bad. But this game adds shopping, and the shopping is so satisfying because there are so many cool cards, and you never know which cards are going to be in the deck, and you're like, oh, which one's am I going to get? I guess Sensei, and what do I roll? You get a very nice, satisfying sense of progression over the course of the game as you level up and become more and more powerful. That, I think, is where the game really excels and stands out from the other family-friendly co-op gateway games on the market right now. So, if that sounds interesting, you should definitely go check out the Kickstarter campaign. Again, follow the show notes. And otherwise, I'm going to end it right there, folks. Hope you have a very, very nice day. And I'll be talking to you later. Any comments, questions, concerns, as always, let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to end it right there. Talk to you later. Have a very good day. I hope you all live happily, happily ever after. Bye-bye.